Welcome to the second episode of Let's Learn Zig. Variables. What are they? How do they work in Zig? And what are the differences? How do we do things like mutate variables, define constants? All these questions will be answered this episode. And I'm going to try and really make these first few episodes of the series very digestible. I want the code to be very simple. I want to try and explain things simply. And I'm not going to go into crazy depths about what's going on under the hood. I want this to be, like I said, digestible for anyone learning programming. And that's going to be the goal of the series, is to take you step by step through learning a programming language like Zig so you can go off and build your own applications. But to caveat that, I am going to get into more intermediate and advanced things in the future. I think there's only so much you can do with basics, and I want the series to go from basic to advanced. So sure, right now it's going to be simple, variables. If you already know other programming languages, this should be a pretty easy episode for you. But again, this might be your first programming language, and I want everyone to be welcome to the series. And yeah, so like I said, variables, what are they? Well, we're going to get into the code very soon, but I want to kind of give a high level overview of what variables are. Okay, so a variable, all it is storage. All you're doing is storing some data in a location, and then you use that variable to get that data when you need it. Let's just try and give a quick, simple analogy. Let's say you have a filing cabinet, all your files are in there, and let's just say you divide it so every folder gets assigned a letter. So that letter, let's like A to Z, we have all our files that start with A in that A folder. So if we want to get all those files, we're going to use the variable A. So A is that folder with our data in it. So to access it, let's say go get the folder A, or in our code, we're going to say use variable A. I hope that makes sense. We're going to get to the code right away, but I just want to touch on stack versus heap allocation. If you haven't heard of that, it can get confusing. So I'm going to talk about it a very little bit, but we will have a dedicated episode to heap allocations. So really, we're just going to stick with stack allocations for those of you that know for this episode. But heap allocations are obviously a very important thing, and especially in Zig, the way they handle it with allocators is very unique. So there will be a dedicated episode to heap allocations. So yeah, let's just jump in the code. I'm going to walk through a few examples, and I hope you enjoy. So now we're in the code. So let's just start with some basic variables. So I'm going to show you the two most basic things we can do. One, a constant, and one, a mutable variable. So const, let's just say max health, and let's make an I32 equals 100. So what we've done here is, like I said before, we have a variable, which all it is pointing to some data, or it's holding some data. So if we go ahead and print that, debug.print max health, and this is syntax in Zig for just saying we want to pass a variable. So now we can actually pass that max health variable inside. And now if we go ahead and run it, there you go, max health. You can see there's a little icon there. So we didn't have a new line, but if you run it, there we go, max health. But what we're going to see if we try to do max health now, if we try and change that, and then try and compile, we do see an error. And we just zoom out a bit. We can see cannot assign constant. So what does that mean? Well, constants can't be mutated. But if we change it to variable, and then now we can print both times, now we see what happens is when we run it, we see we get both. What this means is var can be changed. That means it's mutable. But const, it can't be changed. Again, this code won't compile because we try and change a constant. But variables are mutable, or the var keyword means mutable. And in this case, we can change it. That's the basics of variables. But we might see some other things like right here, if we just get rid of that, we see this says comptime int now. We run it, we see we have a compile error. So variable of type comptime int must be const or comptime. So what this is saying is that we have this var, so mutable, but then we didn't give it a type. So that means it's going to be inferred at comptime, hence the comptime int. So we're not going to get too into comptime right now. I'm going to go a little bit more, but there'll be a whole episode on comptime. If we change this back to const And we'll just get rid of this for now. Now we can go in and run it. And there we go. Max health is 100. And we see the type is 100. But what if you want to be explicit? So again, we can just go in. In this case, let's say we want a U32 or an unsigned integer. We see just health. And now we can just say health and change it to health. And now we can run that. And then we see max health and health, both 100. And then again, this is a U32. So if we try and compile this, we get an error saying type U32 cannot be negative because it's unsigned. And now we see a new block here. So what's this doing? So we see we have our X, our Y, flag, and Z. So all of them are different types. In this case, we have the inferred types of comptime, int, and float. And this is inferred of bool because we do true. It's the exact same thing as writing bool. This case, comptime makes no difference. But now we can see we used a special thing in Zig called type of, and this is a built-in function. So if we go ahead and run that, we see flag is type bool, X is comptime int, comptime float, U32. So what this does is exactly as it says. It's going to give us as a string the type of whatever variable we pass in. And there's a ton of different built-ins. Go check the reference manual if you want to see a list of all of them. But I just wanted to show off a quick one if you ever have to debug. I'm also going to show off one little hint. If you find you want to type a big number and this is a little hard to read, you can, as in same with other languages, put in underscores. And so if we run it, obviously the underscores won't be printed, but it's more just to help you read the code and it won't make a difference. It'll still be 42 million. So remember how earlier I said mutable variables can't be comptime ints? Well, there's actually one thing you can do. And again, I'll have a full comptime episode, but if you just put comptime in front, now we can have this sum and then this comptime block, which does all this work, which it ends up summing to 55. But if we look at all that and let's just run it for now, we see 1 through 10 equals 55. All of this was evaluated at comptime. So this while loop, these variables, all of it was like shrunk down and just put into, let's just say it like this. All of this is equal to this. Obviously can't redeclare, but all of this code at compile time, it'll do all that calculations. And then when you're actually running the code, this is what the runtime sees, which is a very powerful feature of Zig. Again, we'll go in comptime in the future, but I just want to emphasize again, comptime is very, very powerful. One last extra hint I want to show is Zig will never let you compile with unused variables. So we see unused local constant. One little trick, if you ever need to for some reason, you can do underscore equals sum. And now it'll act like it's using it, so you get rid of that error, but you don't actually have to use it. So now if we compile it, you see nothing's printed because nothing's used. And thank you so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you found value in it. Again, these first few episodes, very much suited for people first learning how to code, the basics of a language. There's things you just got to go through. The next few episodes will be things like functions, structs, things like that. Still just defining the basics of Zig. But I do promise, like I said, we will get to more intermediate and advanced things. I just want to make it very consumable, very easy for anyone learning. I hope you enjoyed the episode. If you want to chat, my Discord link's down in the description. I enjoy chatting with everyone there. If you have any feedback, leave it down in the comments. And I'd obviously appreciate if anyone liked or subscribed. It helps me a lot as a small growing channel. And I just want my videos to be able to be shown to anyone learning Zig. I want to try and produce the best content, make it easy to learn. And you all can help with that. If you just like the video, subscribe, leave a small comment, all those things really help me. But yeah, that's the episode. I hope you enjoyed. Have a great day.